Spain has condemned strongly the increase and the reinforcement of the military occupation of Gaza by the Israeli army. This is not the path to peace. This is not the path to bring security to anyone in the Middle East, including the people of Israel. And of course, this is against international law, against justice for the Palestinian people of Gaza, and even against mere humanity. We are asking to stop the military escalation, to go to an immediate ceasefire, and also we call for the liberation of all hostages. At the end, we support the two-state solution, and we want to see a state of Palestine with both Gaza and the West Bank that is under also huge pressure and a continued enlargement of the illegal settlements to be united under one single Palestinian Authority to create a viable and realistic Palestinian state. The humanitarian situation in Gaza is beyond anything we can imagine. I really don't find any more words that are strong enough to define, to explain the horror that is going on, how this is going against international humanitarian law. We see kids, babies, on the verge of dying of hunger with food stuff that is waiting there for them. We see humanitarian workers, journalists being killed every day. This has to stop. Spain is putting all its diplomatic strength to try to break this blockade. We have increased our finance to the Palestinian Authority, to UNRWA, an indispensable UN agency for the Palestinian refugees and the Palestinian people. And we have been launching food through the air with our military aeroplanes. But of course, that's a drop of water in the oceans. What we are asking and requesting is that all land borders crossing points are open and that a massive entrance of humanitarian assistance can go to the Gaza Strip without any filter. It cannot be Israel or anybody that is not UN bodies that decide who have access to that food. Israel cannot have a right of veto on who eats and who is fed or not in Gaza today. And as long as this situation goes on, we are proposing to the European Union what we are doing bilaterally. First, to establish an arms embargo, not selling any weapons to Israel as long as this conflict is going on. Secondly, to put sanctions on everyone that tries to spoil the two-state solution. And thirdly, because the relationship between Israel and the European Union is based on human rights and can only be based on the respect of human rights, we are calling for the immediate suspension of the Council of Association, the Agreement of Association between Israel and the European Union. Spain has a very consistent foreign policy. We are not allowing, since October the 7th, to sell weapons to Israel. We are not giving new licenses to export weapons from Spain. We are not allowing ships that wants to stop in our ports and that have a cargoes of weapons with the final destination of Israel to do those stopover here in Spain. We have created a list in which we are including violent settlers that are sanctions and that cannot be delivered visas to come to our country, and we are going to increase the list to anyone that is really actively engage against the two-state solution. This is decisions that we have taken out of morality, but this is just the respect of international and European law. It's the minimum. European law, our own regulation, says that we cannot sell weapons to places in which there is a war going on, or that the relationship, it's Article 2 of the Council of Association with Israel, says that our relation is based in human rights. And there is a report of the European Commission saying there is a very clear violation of human rights right now by Israel in Gaza. So it's just compliant with our regulation what we are doing. And of course, we are calling and asking the other European countries to join us. Spain has called European Union to impose an arms embargo at the European Union level and to suspend immediately the Council of Association. And more countries are joining our position. Spain, it's at the leadership and the avant-garde, if we can say, of a new wave of recognition of Palestine. We did it together with Ireland, with Slovenia, with Norway. Now other countries are joining that move that we did a year ago. We see France, Portugal, Canada, Australia, many countries that are thinking to do it in the General Assembly or have announced it. We are going to continue with that process. We have created a group that is called Madrid Plus, in which we have an Arab European voice with countries that are coming now from other regions, like Brazil, to create momentum for the establishment of the State of Palestine. And we are calling to put a time frame to achieve full membership of Palestine in the United Nations, and this is 12 months from now. We all know that there is no alternative to the two-state solution. We know that the only path to peace and to security for everyone, I insist, also for Israel, is the two-state solution. And that's why we are at the forefront of this international movement now in favor of the establishment of a state of Palestine. This is terrible, and I really send my strongest and warmest feeling and condolences to their families and friends. I know that several journalists of Al Jazeera were killed. This is unacceptable. There is a right of information and a protection for journalists that should be respected by everyone. This is a violation of international law, and this is a new signal, if we need it, new, because there are many, like all those babies that are on the point of dying because they are not being fed, or the humanitarian workers that are being killed since the very beginning, that this is a completely inhumane war, that there is no point. So I really condemn that killing of journalists, and I send my condolences to all of their families and friends, and also to Al Jazeera for those journalists that were killed. Well, we've been very clear since the very beginning. We condemn the terrorist attack of Hamas, and we send our condolences for that. But this is not fighting terrorism. This is a war that we have condemned, and we have been calling for an immediate ceasefire. We are calling for opening all the land borders of Gaza, so humanitarian assistance, including Spanish humanitarian assistance that has been tripled since the beginning of the war, can enter Gaza Strip. Also, we call for the liberation of all hostages. Certainly, we will always be opposed to this war, and we will be opposed to any illegal and unilateral annexation of Gaza or the West Bank by Israel. The war must stop, the illegal settlements must stop, and we must all sit around the table to advance in the two-state solution.